benefits and our services. To share with you the Chamber's goals for the future, I would like to introduce our first Vice President, Dr. Max Martinez. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. I also am excited to be here today to talk to you about the future of the Paramount Chamber of Commerce. Sheila has given you a bit of the history and evolution and explained to you the foundation of the Paramount Chamber. And I'm here to tell you where we're going with this foundation. Our mission statement, taken from the California Association of Chamber of Commerce, is to advance the commercial, financial, industrial, and civic interest of our community. Let me add to this, that the Chamber is the front door of the community, and we are the information source of Paramount. I think I should share with you a little bit about my perspective on the Chamber of Commerce. As most of you know, I'm a product of the Paramount system. Growing up here gave me insight to our community. But during my short time on being on the board of directors of your Paramount Chamber, I've had the opportunity to experience other facets of other cities' Chamber of Commerce. A lot of the things that highlight those cities, the image that they have, the most positive image, the image maker in the community is the Chamber. For instance, just up the street, the city of Downey. You look at their Christmas parade. You look at their Miss Downey pageant, their State of the City addresses. All those things are organized by the Chamber, not the city. The city has other issues to attend to. Everyone knows that the media has been unkind to our city in recent years and have blown incidents out of proportion. If we are going to be, as the one statement says, the front door of the community, and we are going to present the best possible image to the public, it takes a strong Chamber. To be that PR person, to be able to hold those dinners, the luncheons, and those special events, to distribute the literature to those people that want to move to Paramount, to the businesses that want to come here. All those things take effort, support, and of course money. There is no other entity that does this. If it does not happen here, it does not happen in our community. I think that people that are involved in the Chamber know that they are doing everything they conceivably can to promote the economic and stability of the community. If people want those things to continue, if they want more State of the City addresses like today, more fiestas, more grand opening ceremonies, and those special positive events, if you want a positive newspaper such as the Pulse Beat, there has to be support for this entity. Otherwise, this doesn't happen. Sorry, let me get off my soapbox here. This brings us up to why I'm here today, our objectives. To obtain our mission statement, we must try to reach some goals for 1994-95. Our first goal, of course, for any chamber to survive, it survives on its investors. So, our first goal is to increase our members to 400 members. As you can see, a substantial amount of growth has already taken place. In 1991, as Sheila stated, we had 205 chamber members. And our projected total for this fiscal year ending in June is 327 total chamber members. If the last 2 months are any indication of our expected growth, this goal of 400 is achievable. In January alone, we had 15 new members. And in February, we had 12 new members. Just in new members alone, our revenue has increased, as you see, from 1991 to the present time. Remember, 205 total members to over 300 here in the beginning of 1994. More and more businesses are joining, as you can see. In 1992, we had 23% of the total businesses in Paramount. And today, just in less than 2 years, we have 26% of the total business in Paramount. Even with that increase of businesses in the city, we're still getting an increase in percentage. Now, you ask, well, 26%, how does this fare with other cities? We've taken a survey, and this is how our city fares. For example, Compton has about 6% of the total businesses. Bellflower has 13% members of the total businesses. Downey, 15, Southgate, 17, and Paramount has 26% of the total businesses. In addition to this, our minority investors have also increased. In 1993, we had 10% minority members. In 1 year alone, our minority membership has increased to 24% of the total members. Now, to increase members, we must give them benefits. And this leads us to the other goals of 1994-95. Our second goal, to increase our membership package. Now remember, Sheila explained benefits like the credit union, retirement program, credit reporting service, long distance service discounts, and VIP travel service. You know, during our survey with other cities, we asked them what, membership included in their Chamber of Commerce's, and most of them just had networking. Now, granted, networking is an important entity for the Chamber of Commerce, but our members want more. One of our benefits that we're proud of is our member-to-member discount program. Here are just a few examples of our members that give discounts to all Chamber members, and the list goes on. We are already working hard for future benefits for our members like group insurance coverage. We hope to get discounts on office supplies for all our members, discounts in freight shipping, merchant discount credit card service, and auto rental discounts. These are benefits that we're working on today. Our third goal, to increase the Pulse Beat circulation. This newspaper shows the entire community the good things that are happening in Paramount, and only positive things. We have increased circulation, as Sheila stated, from 300 subscriptions in 1989 per month to the present 10,000. And in 1994-95, I would like to see that to have 15,000 per month going out to our community. We received at least a dozen calls last month from people wanting to take out a subscription to the Pulse Beat. People who have seen it for the very first time. We have no subscriptions. These people are enjoying and hearing the positive things that are happening in our schools, in our community, and at our service clubs. Somebody getting an award. Our 10K run having 2,000 runners. Our governor being in our city. Who covers this in a positive way? And from the business community, the Pulse Beat gives small and large businesses alike the opportunity to profile themselves to the community, especially the small business. I know without a doubt there are new small businesses who are just starting out, and as a new member of the Chamber, are given the opportunity to introduce themselves by the way of the Pulse Beat. At no charge. It's free advertising. I mean, this alone just pays for the initial membership fee. Our fourth goal is to acquire additional computer equipment and to upgrade our system to better handle the volume of calls that come in every day. Let me just show you a small example what the system does today. And of course, we have the staff members, the Chamber staff members to thank for all the input they put into our system. For example, just recently we had a phone call from the state of Virginia back east. And they knew of a company in Paramount that dealt with a certain brass product, but they didn't know the company's name. So we go into a computer under records, and this is what our screen looks like. And what do we type in? Brass products. And in no time, we have all the companies that deal in these brass products. Well, the caller recognized one of the names and said, yep, that's it. And bingo, an instant referral. Now, we call this our quick access referrals. Anybody calls from anywhere, we can give them all types of information about our companies. From this information, from this, we can also get other information like the minority status of the company, the number of employees, contract suppliers. Government agencies are asking us information of all these things all the time. With the system, we can also communicate important information to our members within a few hours. And as you see down on the bottom, it will log each one of those communications. Our next goal, to increase our staff. Let me show you the number of inquiries that the Chamber gets. We've divided it here, and you can see all the calls, the distribution, the written reports, the outgoing calls that this Chamber office does. For example, let's just take this little section over here, incoming calls. In 1993 and 94, we had 13,000 incoming calls alone of all realms of information regarding our city. The questions were either answered or at least referred to the proper entity. Can you imagine how the city would have to deal with these additional calls? And these doesn't even include the other services that the Chamber does. Remember, we're doing all this with a small staff of two full-time office staff members and a part-time marketing and salesperson. And the rest, as Sheila stated, is done by officers, directors, ambassadors that get no compensation. They're essentially volunteers. To handle the increase in volume and keep the level of service, communication, and information given to the community, we need additional staff members. For example, we really need a bilingual full-time person in that office. It is very hard at this point to keep up with the numbers and the constant changes of Paramount that are occurring every day. So even with these immediate goals, we're looking at long range plans. So let's look into the crystal ball with Dorothy and see what's in the future of Paramount. In the Chamber efforts to continue the pride and progress of Paramount, 2 specific projects are in the works. This includes a minority and small business development center. Our ultimate goal is to have this resource library for all the businesses where they may attain information regarding all business concerns. For example, they can get information on industry, on different types of licensing, information on importing and exporting, certain business requirements, loan resources. These questions are being asked at our office today. In addition to the center, we would provide counseling services through SCORE. These counselors will actually be there at the center to individually counsel anyone that needs help to promote business in the community, from business plans to business license to small business loans. Our second long-term project, to create a manufacturer's factory showroom directory. Remember, our base in Paramount is still manufacturing, and a lot of those manufacturers do sell to the public. We think by creating a guide, we would increase a tax base to the city, plus give us something unique among other cities. Yeah, some of our surrounding cities may have those large retail bases, but where can you get a better price than from the factory direct? Ladies and gentlemen, these are your Paramount Chamber of Commerce goals from 1994-95. Remember, this will only be the beginning. The potential is unlimited. In closing, I hope I've enlightened you on the Chamber's role in the community. Now that you understand the vital role that the Chamber plays in our community, we need everyone to help, and mostly the entire city support, to make Paramount a community that we can be proud to be part of. At this time, I'll entertain any questions from the audience. Oh, I like this audience. Good. You were either asleep or... Okay, if there's no questions, since there was no questions, I get a little bit more time, Peggy, and this is going to be my sales pitch. For the people that are not members of the Chamber of Commerce, please, on your way out, stop by and see Peggy and pick up an application. And for those people that are members, please stop by and see Peggy and see how you can help by being an ambassador or a director. And we certainly will start you on your way to partnership with the Paramount Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for your attention.
I don't know where Harry's at, but Harry, they told me to call on you. Mr. Babbitt, are you around? There you are. To switch it over for the setup for Michelle. Harry's going, who said that? Who said that? And I'd like to introduce you at this time to Michelle Lawrence, Superintendent of the Paramount Unified School District.
Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me okay. I want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you, because I sincerely believe that any American city really needs to have a threefold partnership, and that is the city, the business community, and their education system. So I'm delighted today to be able to tell you some of the fine things that are happening in your schools, and some of the major plans we have that will, I believe, change the configuration of the school system, and really, quite frankly, is very, very exciting for us. When I started in Paramount, and it will be 2 years in July, the Board of Education had 3 major areas that they asked me to concentrate on immediately. The first was the school district budget. When I came, the school district budget was in about $4 million hole. We had the state controller's office at our door. The county office was not going to approve our school district budget, and we certainly had some real trouble. Because of the fine effort, and I think the courageous effort on the part of our Board of Education to make some very tough decisions, I am pleased to report to you that last month we took our second interim report to the school district and to the county office. We have stopped our deficit spending. Our reserve level is twice the required amount, and we believe that we will have enough, despite the fact that the state is anticipating no COLA or no increase in funds for school children. We believe that we will have enough to carry us into next year. So I'm very, very pleased with the efforts that we've been able to do in terms of our budget. The second thing that the Board of Education asked us to look at was the achievement of our students. They were feeling that our children were capable of much more. I share that belief, and consequently, we concentrated and are concentrating on improving the achievement of our students. That's going to take some time, because there are so many areas of so many aspects to immediately correcting the course. But what we have done thus far is we have developed a curriculum master plan in which we have identified the areas of staff development for our teachers, retooling of administrators. We have set up articulation efforts in all our schools so that elementary teachers are meeting with middle school teachers and meeting with high school teachers. So the focus is not from school to school, but district-wide. So we look at the child coming from entering into kindergarten and leaving us ready to meet the challenges of the 21st century. And the third area that the board was most concerned about, and that was the overcrowding in our schools and what we were going to do to accommodate the growth. And that's what I would like to concentrate today with you on, and to talk to you a little bit about our plans to accommodate the growth and to help reduce the overcrowding in our schools. In September, we established a very, very large task force, hired an architectural firm
that is very, very good and well known throughout the state, to come in and do analysis of our facilities. They came in and assessed the community. They even counted bathrooms, the number of bathrooms and chairs in our schools, so that we could really understand what we had in terms of seating capacity for children. We established a task force. As a matter of fact, we've had city representatives serving on that task force. We've had members from every single school in the district meeting with us every Thursday afternoon since September to talk about a plan to retool our schools and to accommodate the growth. I'd like to show you a couple things that are causing us certainly some difficulty as we go through this. And by the way, on your tables are those packets, and I think there's enough for everyone at a table. If not, there are some in the back of the room if you didn't get them. So these handouts will be on your table. Those of you who are over 40 and can't see this far, you'll be able to look at your table. The state makes a determination about the size acreage that a school should be. They give you an average size. So if you put X number of children on a given school site, they tell you that you should have X number of acres in order to accommodate the number of children. These dark lines represent that in our school system, our schools do not have the required number of acreage that would be considered an average size school. For the number of children that are currently at Paramount High School, that school acreage is about deficient by 75%. Our high school acreage is about 33 acres. Given 3,000 students on the campus, it should be about 66 acres. So we feel, and if you've been on any of those campuses during the lunch period, it's very, very crowded. If you can see a school like Lincoln, the play area for the children, the passing areas for the children, the area in which they can just move about is very deficient. Consequently, if you have new children coming into your schools, you can't just build a second story because you are minus the acreage in order for them to have sufficient playgrounds. Given that, we knew that we couldn't just put in new bungalows. We can't just bring in bungalows to house the new kids because there's not enough play area. So we needed to have some other kind of plan in place. We also have been studying the demographics, looking at the birth rates, looking at the county rates, the move-in rates, etc. And we've discovered that in our school system, this is the bulk of our children who are in the K6 grade level. You can see that the majority of our children fall here. These are our middle school children, and this is our high school. We're currently in the year 1994, and at every single grade level we anticipate growth until the year 2000, where we believe that we will try and stable out. Interestingly enough, and our figures have been very, very conservative in terms of the growth, for the first time in many years, this month has been the highest enrollment month. Usually schools have October as their highest, and then the students tend to leave the system. This month we have more children enrolled in the Paramount School District than ever before. Given that, we suddenly found ourselves having a real problem, because if you will look at this fine city, you will discover that there is not a lot of empty land in order to build a large high school. We anticipate the high school, it's currently 3,000, by the year 2000 will be 4,000 in number. That's an awful lot of children to put on one site. Each of our middle schools will grow by 300 students each by the year 2000. That's an awful lot of children to put on the existing sites. Consequently, we've had to come up with a plan to try to mitigate this. If you look at, and the school district boundaries are a lot different than the city boundaries. We come in, this area is Long Beach, we come in down here, this is not ours, and this kind of thing is gerrymandered, but these children are ours, these children are ours, and this area all through here becomes ours. This is the high school. This is Clearwater. This is Hollydale. So you get a sense of how the layout of the school it currently is. Down here we have Michelson Continuation School, and we have Collins in the Lakewood area. This represents our school district boundaries. As you notice, there is not any blank area to come in and to build any kind of large school. There certainly isn't 33 acres available for a second high school, even if the community felt that they could support 2 high schools. There isn't an area large enough to support another middle school. And so consequently, we really needed to begin to think about what can we do given the existing facilities and with some of the smaller pieces of available property in the community. We do, and the board has authorized us to enter into negotiations to acquire the Brethren school site property. We are currently in negotiations with the Brethren school staff to acquire that property as a small elementary school. Additionally, down at Michelson School is about 10 acres, which currently houses our continuation school program. We believe that we can put in a very small instant school, and when I say instant, we can have a school with modular portables put up very, very soon, by September actually. Two schools on year-round, school on traditional cycle year-round, etc. So families would have an opportunity to choose whether or not they wanted to be in a year-round program or to be in a traditional cycle. In doing this, it will also then give us the revenue we need to go ahead and build our new facility on the Brethren property to help us with the costs on the Michelson property. That was very, very fast in preparation to tell you what we want to do. And usually I have been going out to all our school sites, meeting with parents across the district, and this presentation generally takes about an hour to go through in detail. But I thought it was important that you, as business community and city officials, get an understanding of the concepts of how we're moving the school and changing the district. This K-8 configuration is not a new model. There are school districts in California. Alhambra School District is one that has a community similar to ours, and have always been a K-8 system. One of the things that we want to make certain we do, however, is to maintain the kind of quality programs, the elective type programs that have been available for our middle school children. So our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, although they might be housed on an elementary school campus, would really have a very separate program. Their lunch periods would be different, their recess periods would be different, and they would not be what you call a self-contained program. Rather, they might have a block of time in which they're getting their humanities, their English, and their social studies, and then having an opportunity to change teachers for math, change teachers for science, and physical education. So by the time they move into the 9th grade school, they will have had some kind of experience with the elective program. Knowing also that we want the middle school electives, the 6th, 7th, and 8th electives, to parallel the kinds of programs that are in our high school. So we have now children developing their career paths early and having some exploratory opportunities to see the kinds of things that they're interested in, whether or not they're preparing themselves for professional service or for college. I think, I forgot a major piece here. That sounds overwhelming, and it is, frankly. But we believe we can do it over a 3-year period. And this is how it will look. So it doesn't look quite so complicated. I think there's a way, we believe that there's a way that we can ease into this. Basically what will happen is we're here now. By the end of this month, we will have identified the boundaries for Michelson Instant School, which will affect those people down at the Lakewood south end of our school district. We would open up in September the Michelson Instant School, which will immediately give us relief at Collins and Moakler schools. We will also, by law, we are required to notify our community of any school that's going year-round. We must go back out to the community, let them know about the year-round choices, what's happening with their school, the calendar for year-round, and give them 1 full year's notice if we are to implement it the following July. So we would be out notifying parents which schools would go year-round. We would establish new attendance boundaries because now you no longer have the children that are junior high school students who are being bused across the district. They are now going to be going closer to their homes, to their local schools. Then the following year, what would happen is children who would be moving into 6th grade and normally go to the middle schools would stay right where they are. So in essence, what happens is children who are 4th graders will remain in their school and become 5th graders and 6th graders and 7th graders and 8th graders, and they will not know any difference really because they will have remained in their school. The children that are currently or will be going through in this year who will be at our middle schools, they will stay at the middle school, and in this year, because the 6th graders are retained, our middle schools will then immediately be reduced by all those 6th graders, so they'll have 2 years of less crowding. We will remodernize Alondra Intermediate School to accommodate an elementary school program. All the 8th graders that following year will go to Clearwater and remain at Clearwater for 2 years. They will be 8th graders at Clearwater, then they will become 9th graders at Clearwater. And by making this plan, we believe we can prevent a lot of disruption in our community, and the kids will ease through as they go through the program. They don't keep changing, and we won't have to be moving children all over the school district. There's been a great deal of thought that's gone into this plan, and I know I've told it to you very, very quickly. I'm sure there are many, many questions, and I will be more than happy to come out and talk to any kind of community group or businesses a little bit more about the plan. We're excited about it. We believe more than anything else there are two very, very positive things that'll happen. Right now, we believe that our schools are so crowded that the campus environment and the campus climate is not as healthy as it could be for our children. We spend a great deal of time keeping the lid on things. Until schools are less crowded and we can really concentrate on working with children in a much more intimate setting, we're going to have many of the difficulties that we've been experiencing. The other thing that we're really pleased about is that we're able to now have an influence on smaller groups of children as they go through their maturity level into their puberty. We believe that now there will be greater opportunities for schools to have school uniforms, and we have 2 of our schools in the district who have adopted uniform policies, and the children, and that's come from the parents, and the children are having uniforms in their schools. We see our kids growing up so very quickly that there is a real positive feeling in the community from the parents that we're talking about maintaining their children in a K-8 system. I think the thing immediately that'll happen is that our schools are going to be in a situation where the learning environment is far more conducive and not quite so crowded. So I hope that I've given you an overview and at least got you a sense of what we're going to be doing in our educational circle. I'll entertain any questions.
Any questions?
Any questions? Yep. Do I anticipate any bonding? And I'm assuming you're talking about revenue bonding. Probably, and in all likelihood, yes. In order to get the state funds, most of this will be supported by state dollars from the general pot. But we're going to have to show a percentage, about 10 to 15% of local contribution. For the school district, that can come through existing means, such as our developer fees that we've been currently collecting, from some money that we've received from the city of Bellflower, but also from a bond initiative. We do not have all the details. There may be other ways in which we can approach it, but we do know that in order to reduce this and to get money to build our schools, that we probably will need to go out for some type of bond. We're looking and anticipate that it'll be somewhere affecting, if you do the bond, affecting a homeowner about $20 to $25 per year. The question is, are there any concerns in mixing 7th and 8th graders with much younger children? The schools that we have visited that have 7th and 8th graders mixed with their elementary report absolutely no problems with bullying, etc. I think that we probably would have a problem if we're taking the existing kids and moving them back. But the fact that they stay in their school and they never go through that period, consequently they have the same school rules, they have the environment, the school has had an opportunity to embed in them the philosophy of the campus. And so the schools that we have visited and the programs we have seen said that just is not an issue. Yes, sir.
General feeling about year-round school in those communities?
The general feeling about year-round education in some places is mixed. The folks who are involved in year-round, there is, as a matter of fact, a very, very large year-round school contingency. There was a conference in San Diego not too long ago. They swear by it. They absolutely swear by it. They're also finding communities that have entered into year-round school, as long as you don't mandate it for everyone, what they're finding is that more people choose to go into year-round schools than choose not to. That probably, however, is the greatest concern on the part of our community because it's so new. But, and part of the anxiety is that there's a misunderstanding. I think many people believe that their children will have fewer days or fewer instructional hours. It's quite the contrary. In essence, they get the identical number of instructional days and at least the same number of instructional minutes. The calendar just looks differently. And so rather than having everybody on the same calendar, you have a different vacation periods. And so children go, they have shorter recesses. Instead of having 3 months off in the summer where you have to come back in September and reteach the learning, what you have is children going to school for 60 to 90 days and then off for 2 weeks and then continue 60 to 90 days and then off. It also gives you an opportunity to do intersessions for children who need remediation and bring them in during those absent periods. Yes, sir.
Will the teachers who take part in the year-round system, are they properly additionally compensated for the additional time they spend?
Again, the question was, will teachers be compensated for the additional time? Teachers do not have additional time. You have exactly the same number of instructional days. It's the calendar just looks different. So instead of us knowing that we teach, it looks a little like this. This is kind of a rough, but it looks a little bit like this. If this was stretched out all the way across, what you do is you have 4 different tracks, and in each of these tracks are all grade levels, 1st through 8th grade. What ends up happening are these tracks will start in July, and this track would be off. Then these children are off, and these people are going, and this track starts. And so it works this way, and the children, the teachers are off in the same period of time. So they do not work any additional days. Administration, however, works additional days. No, not for us. Yes, sir. The adult school program, our intentions are to remove the adult school program from its current location, primarily because we need the space so that we can, here's the adult school in Wirtz right here. The Wirtz property, if you look in your folder, had a real deficiency in acreage as well. So we need that area to expand the playground for the Wirtz children. So the likelihood is that we will relocate the adult school program, its offices and its day program. And then the adult school classes at night, we would use our own existing facilities and move classes into the local school so that parents have access to the programs closest to their home. So we would now see many satellite programs instead of a group going to one place for adult education. It would rather be in 4 or 5 slots throughout the community. Yes, ma'am.
Regarding junior or K to 8th grade, I understand that they'll be all in the same facility, same place. What about the 9th grade?
The ninth graders, here is the high school, and here is Clearwater. The ninth graders will go to the existing Clearwater campus, which backs right up to the high school, and so they will have opportunity to use the athletic fields and some of the the sports area, participate in school dances and those kinds of things. So they will be housed at Clearwater.
That's all ninth graders.
All ninth graders. All ninth graders in one place. Any other questions? We have a very large plate, and we're excited about it. We'll be more than happy to entertain any of your questions, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. That was very enlightening. At this time, I'd like to introduce our final presenter, which is City Manager William Holt. Thank you.
Listening to one afternoon speaker is about a day's work for me, and you've got 3 of them. So in light of that, I will try to kind of rush through my presentation, and hopefully not so fast that it's a blur. We're going to be talking about several things today. The first is our financial status. Each year we prepare a budget, as you know, and spend a lot of time and effort doing that, and the City Council normally adopts that in late June or July. And then at the middle of the fiscal year, we go through a fairly extensive review and presentation to the City Council. And this year, our budget at mid-year looks like this. We expect a surplus of about $285,000 in our general fund, about $383,000 in restricted funds, which are funds that we can't spend for any governmental purpose but only for specific purposes, and in our water fund, which is the utility business that we run and account for as a private sector entity. In the water fund, we expect a loss of about $65,000 this year. So by and large, we're in good shape with a slight surplus in the general fund that will add to our reserves. It's kind of hard to know where cities stand comparatively with regard to efficiency and economy. One way to look at that is the number of full-time employees per thousand population. This chart factors out police, fire, airports, harbors, gas utilities, and that sort of thing, so that the numbers are comparative. And you can see that the city of Santa Fe Springs on the left has 11.5 full-time employees per thousand residents, and Paramount at the far right is 1.7. We are just above Linwood and Bellflower, and I think from the standpoint of what we accomplish, how we look, and the things we do, we compare very favorably there. Sales tax is one of about 100 different revenue sources that cities get and must account for, but it is a very important one. We reached our sales tax high in 1989. We had nearly $4.9 million coming in that year. And then we had a steady decline, ending up with a 29% drop by 1992. That was a very difficult year for us. It was a very difficult year for the state of California with regard to balancing its budget. Unlike the state of California, we balanced ours and cut back, reduced personnel, and dealt with the problem. In 1993, we were inching up toward the 1991 levels. In 1994, we will be right about our 3-year-old level of 91. In 1995, we hope to be back up to the 5-year-old level. Assessed property values, even though we do not have a property tax for the city of Paramount, are very important because it shows general trends in our real estate market, and our redevelopment agency does depend on assessed property values as a source of income. You can see a steady growth there for the last 7 years, from 1 billion to 1.6 billion. That's a 60% growth in 7 years. That is a chart showing annual percent change. It has been quite healthy even during the near depression real estate market that we've been in. This, I think, is a very important slide. The source is from about a 3-week-old edition of the Press Telegram. It shows median sales prices change from year to year, January 93 to January 94, for cities in this region. The cities are Artesia, reading left to right, Bellflower, Downey, which had a decline of nearly 11%, Lakewood down 1, La Mirada down 1, Linwood no change, Norwalk down 1, Southgate down nearly 4, and Paramount up over 5%. The variable we see between those cities and ours is the kind of activity that our city engages in with regard to improving its infrastructure and redevelopment. The city of Paramount has had a decade-long process of change for the better, and we think that the real estate market reflects that. Our city council has thought that since they began this project in the early 1980s. They have always believed that the things that we do are an investment in the community that pay dividends to the people in the community by improving their property values. Public safety is on everybody's mind, and I suppose I should admit at the outset what we all know, and that is that government cannot solve the crime problem. Government deals with the crime problem. The front lines in the war on crime are lines in front rooms in every home across the country. This is a chart showing Part 1 crimes. Part 1 crimes are what we call the 7 major crimes, things like murder, robbery, rape, burglary, grand larceny, and so on. These statistics are 1992 versus 1993 for the 6 cities served by the Lakewood Sheriff's Station. The cities of Artesia, Bellflower, and Lakewood had increases in the 7 major crimes from 92 to 93, and Cerritos, Hawaiian Gardens, and Paramount all had declines in the 7 major crimes. As a result of some very highly publicized and tragic deaths, in 1992 we convened a community forum and developed a program to deal with violent gang members. That ended up being called our Target Anti-Gang Program, which is a program that focuses on the 25 most violent gang members in the city, recognizing that most of the violent crime comes from a very small percentage of the people involved in crime, and it involves daily contact with those people by members of the Sheriff's Department. That program cost $1 million. $900,000 of that is being paid for by the utility tax increase that went into effect in July. We increased the utility user tax from 1% to 3% to pay for that program. And that program went into effect July 1. In the first 6 months, ending December 31, 38 violent gang members were removed from Paramount during that time. The theme of the Target program is to be out of violence or out of town. These are the monikers of the 38 people who are either dead, in jail, or out of town. Also, as we believe as a result of the Target program, gang-related violent crime in general is down. The total is on the right. It's down 25% just in that 6-month period. This again is a year-to-year comparison. The last 6 months of 92 when we did not have the Target program, and the last 6 months of 93 when we did. Now, murder, attempted murder and assaults are down a huge percentage, but those are basically very small numbers, and that's why you get that big swing. But all of the gang-related violent crime is down 25%. Capital improvements, we think, are an investment in the community. We work very hard at trying to improve the appearance and safety of the community. You all remember Alondra Boulevard at the Union Pacific Railroad, the delays that were caused by trains. This is a unit train of coal. It's a mile long. And if one of those derailed, our city would have been cut in two so that an ambulance on one side of town couldn't get to the hospital on the other side of town. That has been replaced by this, which was a 10-year-long effort to construct a grade separation on Alondra at the Union Pacific Railroad. One of the capital improvements you may have seen that is going on as we speak is our city's putting in on the state highway, Lakewood Boulevard, a new landscape median. We're currently in a dispute with the state of California, Caltrans, over whether we can put trees in that median, but nevertheless we're proceeding with construction. It may only end up with grass, but we hope not. To the right on that slide where the car is coming out, that is a new intersection, and he's coming out of Paramount Place, which is the location of the Walmart and Smith's development that I'll speak about in a minute. This is a half-mile south on that same median. This is going to be a very nice improvement to that area. That highway is a state highway, as I said, and it is located in the city of Bellflower, but we couldn't get Bellflower to pay for it, so we did it. At that same center, Lakewood and Century, there will be a very nice landscaped fountain that is under construction right now. This is on Rosecrans Boulevard. It is under construction at the present time. We worked in conjunction with the school district and at their request have installed a wrought iron fence on the, we are about to install a wrought iron fence on the median all the way from Anderson to Downey. Very well, exactly like the fence that is on the Downey Avenue medians along the high school. The purpose of that is to prohibit the flowing of pedestrians across the street, particularly at night when there are football games and so on, and making it very dangerous for both pedestrians and motorists. A $2.3 million project that is finishing up this week, in fact, is the improvements that have been made to Somerset Boulevard west of Orange. That involves street widening, median construction, new water lines, and facade changes to the buildings on the north side of the street. This will give a dramatic new entrance to Paramount as you come from Compton over the bridge into the city. We have about a $2.3 million project going on right now at Paramount Park. We have expanded the park by 5 acres and have added a significant amount of parking as well as passive play area. We have redone the recreational area for children. You can see some of the play equipment there in the background of that slide, including a play area that meets the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act for children in wheelchairs and with other handicaps. And the next, probably most visible project that we're going to undertake are street improvements to Alondra Boulevard from Paramount to the east city limit. That probably won't be completed until late summer of '95, in other words, a year from this summer, but that is our next anticipated capital improvement. We do more than just build things. We sit around figuring out how to make your life miserable and regulate you. And one of those areas that we deal with is earthquake. Being responsible for the health, safety, and welfare of the community, we make up things on our own and do things that are mandated by the state and the federal governments. The state has imposed certain requirements for retrofitting unreinforced masonry buildings, and in the law they have established a timeline. All of the buildings that have come up in the timeline in Paramount have been dealt with and have been retrofitted And I think there's only one unreinforced masonry building left, and it simply hasn't come up on the timetable, but will. We recently took a look at parking issues in the downtown. The City Council and the Planning Commission both dealt with this and decided that at this point they were not going to spend the significant money that was necessary to put a public parking lot in the downtown. But nevertheless, they did take a look at this at the request of a business in the area. We recently have encountered churches not wanting to be in residential zones, which is a place that they traditionally have been, and going into commercial and industrial areas, primarily to avoid hassles with neighbors. We also just recently revised our parking standards for smaller restaurants in order to specifically be of assistance to these small businessmen, and in the process that helps owners of centers where smaller restaurants would locate in renting their space. Adult entertainment businesses seem to be having a resurgence, particularly in the Orange County area and near us in Hawaiian Gardens. There, quite honestly, is not a lot that can be done about them, but one area to regulate is parking, and we have just recently changed those parking standards. So if you go to one, there'll be lots of space to park in. One of the things that affects us is what happens to the state of California. As you all know, they have had deficits for the last couple of years. We are told again that the state is facing $5 or more billion in deficit this year. Governor Wilson assumed $3 billion in his balanced budget from the feds, and the president's budget does not include those funds, so we immediately have a $3 billion problem. The state has been dealing with that problem by taking money from cities, counties, and redevelopment agencies, and if we cannot stop them from doing that, they may do it again. That has had a significant detrimental impact on Paramount. It has cost us about $2 million a year, which are monies that are not being spent where they're needed in our community. They're not being spent on you. You're still paying the taxes, but the state has taken them. The county feels constriction of the state budget even more than we do. And the new LA County Chief Administrative Officer Sally Reed has said that LA County faces a possible $900 million shortfall in the coming year, and that they have been deferring costs that they could, taking from here and putting it there, and that there simply isn't more room for deferring costs. And that $900 million is going to have to come out of the 20% of the county budget that is directly under the board control. So $900 million out of $2.7 billion is real, genuine pain that may include closing at least one large county hospital, branch libraries, probably including Paramount's. Our library now, because of the cuts that the county has made, is only open 2 days a week as it is, and possibly a reduction in jail space, meaning that people will be released early unless there is some way to avoid that. That is probably the last thing that everybody wants to do, but it may be necessary for the county to do it. And finally, I'd like to just take a look at some of the investments that the Paramount Redevelopment Agency has made in the community. We do that three ways primarily. One is through assisting residences who meet certain income criteria in remodeling and improving their residential property. The second way is providing grants to business owners to remodel and upgrade their property. And the third way is to simply go out, acquire property, and bring in a new development, such as we did in the downtown in the mid to early 80s and with Walmart and Smith's now. So the first of those is our residential program. I'd like to just show you a quick series of before and after slides so that you can see that the money that is being spent is having a beneficial impact on the neighborhoods where these homes are located, and that those neighborhoods benefit from improved property values. That's a before. After. Another before. 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 All redevelopment agencies in California are required to spend 20% of their tax increment money on very low, and moderate income housing. This is a project at the southwest corner of Somerset and Downey, which is a mixed development. These are approximately $200,000 homes, a little more, and there are about 29 homes that are going to be in there. The redevelopment agency is assisting 6 families to own 6 of those. These are very nice homes. That's an interior view. And we plan to do more of that in the future because we want to, and also because we must. This is a picture of property that is kitty corner from the project you just saw. It is what we call the triangle development. It is a triangle formed by the railroad tracks and the intersection of Downey and Somerset. This is the northeast corner of Downey and Somerset. Some of these buildings are quite blighted and need to come down. The developer is looking for assistance to put condominium ownership units there. Same location. One of the things we try to do with our low to moderate income money is to A, provide low to moderate income housing, but B, do it in such a way that we achieve a redevelopment goal. We get rid of blight and we replace it with something better. And one of the areas that the Redevelopment Agency Board has agreed we should work on are the recreational trailer home parks. These are not mobile home parks. These are recreational trailers that have become permanent housing. This is across the street from the post office on Somerset. The housing there is very substandard, yet permanent. These people share common bathroom facilities and shower facilities and so on. We have not yet been able to attract developers for that, but we think we're reasonably close. Redevelopment areas are shown on this map. They're kind of the shaded crosshatch areas, and the yellow portion is what we hope will be redevelopment project number 3. It centers around Carlton Forge. Carlton Forge would be at the north part of that yellow area. They are undertaking a multi-million-dollar, multi-year improvement, and they are cooperating with us in putting that into a redevelopment project area so that we can obtain the benefit of the tax increment that will be generated and use it in the community. Commercial rebates have amounted to about $1.6 million in the last 5 years. Residential rebates, that first series of before and after slides I show you, amounted to $600,000 in the last 5 years. So commercial rebates, because they involve more and generally are more difficult, have taken more money. This is again is a series of before and after slides of commercial or industrial establishments that have been assisted by the agency. That was a before. This is an after. Before. Before. This was an unreinforced masonry building before. That's a before. Before. This is Jack in Box appliance repair on Somerset before. And then we have a series of slides here that show projects that are going to have commercial rebates and assistance from the redevelopment agency. This is a much needed one, Firestone Tire Center on Rosecrans west of Paramount. Now that we basically have 3 of those corners improved, this will be very nice to get that upgraded. They are willing participants in this program. This is the old Cook Equipment site on Rosecrans. It was just recently approved as the place for relocating Sam's Roofing from their location on Garfield to here. Royal Coach Service is on Rosecrans just east of Paramount, and that building is going to be demolished and a new structure built so that all those junk cars and other things can be worked on indoors. This is a Ron Ward property on Alondra Boulevard, just west of the new grade separation. He will be participating in exterior remodeling. This is the old Kinney Shoes site at Somerset and Lakewood, the southwest corner. They're going to have exterior remodeling and a new roof. And the center at Downey and Alondra has been one we've been trying to get upgraded for a very long time. That has gone through different ownership and a bad real estate market, a horrible lending market, but we think we're close to getting that one going within the next probably 9 months. This is the Mako building that was approved for a commercial rebate, but they sold their property to a firm based in Utah, and we're still working with them to try to get them to go ahead. This property will have exterior remodel, and there will be some sign changes. That's at the northwest corner of Somerset and Lakewood. This property is the northwest corner of Jackson and Paramount. It is owned by the Paramount Redevelopment Agency, and we have been negotiating with Dr. Max Martinez and are about to conclude a sale of that property to him for a new medical building. This is the Brethren High School site. We are serving as kind of a bridge between the current property owner, Greater Long Beach Christian Schools, who moved out of the site a few years ago, and the school district. We are going to be providing a $200,000 loan to the Greater Long Beach Christian Schools to demolish the building, which will be repaid to us with interest when they sell to the school district. The Paramount Refinery has been going through an environmental review process as preparation for making reformulated gasoline at the site. The new owners at the refinery have been very cooperative with the city and have been very good to work with. And there will be phased over the next 3 years a very significant amount of exterior improvements, as well as a contribution to the city's outdoor art museum fund. This property, for instance, will have trees lining it. We have gone from litigation to love with the swap meet, and have assisted them in acquiring property. As you can see, the screens are down on Paramount Boulevard. Shortly, there will be a fence in front of the swap meet on Paramount Boulevard with a very nice landscape setback. One of our purposes was to get the traffic off of Paramount Boulevard that is associated with the swap meet. So we will be running traffic down All America City Way. It's a very long entrance, in essence, very deep, so that we can get lots of traffic off the boulevard quickly. And then ultimately the traffic will circulate behind the swap meet out onto Somerset Boulevard. The new front of the swap meet will have one of our theme towers with signing on it. And then finally, that third way that we work in redevelopment is to create land by buying property and tearing down what's on it and selling it to somebody else. That nearly always involves some sort of subsidy by the redevelopment agency. And our most recent one is bringing new sales tax revenue and new employment to the city through the Walmart and Smith Center that is at Century and Lakewood. This is a very large center, 237,000 square feet, plus another 30,000 square feet that Walmart just walled off in order to expand into it. The Walmart store is 125,000 square feet with 30,000 square feet of expansion space. The Smith's is 85,000 square feet. This will bring 400 to 500 new permanent jobs into the community, in addition to several hundred that were involved in the construction work, and will provide to us about $750,000 a year between their sales tax revenue and the tax increment to the redevelopment agency. Smith's opened last month. Walmart says they're going to open May 17, but I'd bet June 1. Taco Bell is under construction, going up very fast. And for the first time, to our knowledge anyway, there's going to be a McDonald's restaurant inside the Walmart. And then there will be some additional pad space. So I guess in answer to the question, what's the state of the city? I think it's good, good to very good, but not perfect. Cities are always in a state of becoming. Lots of times we'd like for ourselves to get to a point where we can say, this is it, let's enjoy it. But we can't do that because cities are either becoming better or they're becoming worse. They wear out, they break down, people change. You have people who support the community who leave, and you have to replace them. So we're in a constant state of trying to achieve. I think we have a city government here that realizes that and who has tried to tackle problems rather than ignore them. I'd be glad to respond to questions. Thank you. Any questions? Yes, Keith.
Gang situation, the top 25, you still have a list of 25, or still whittling down, or how's that working?
When one comes off the list, another goes on the list. So hopefully we're getting to less violent people as we go down the list. I'm not sure, to directly answer your question, if we've got 20 on it now or 25, but when one comes off, we add another. Yes, sir.
The question I have on litter abatement, are we doing anything to start working on that in different areas?
I'm sorry, Case, I didn't hear. The question is, are we doing anything on litter abatement? We have two aspects there, sort of. We've got graffiti and we've got litter. Litter we basically deal with through street sweeping and occasional special work parties provided by churches. This weekend we have a bunch of children that have been in our Project Success program. Project Success is for people who aren't a success. And they will be involved in litter pickup and that kind of thing. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have anyone you can contact during the weekend for graffiti?
Yes, you can call the Paramount substation, and we have someone painting out graffiti 7 days a week, and they can reach that person by radio and get it resolved.
That substation doesn't open until, what, 10 o'clock on Saturday?
That's right.
Saturday and Sunday.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Anything else? Thank you, Madam Chairman.
I think that we received some incredible information here today, and I would just like to join in giving all four of the presenters one more big hand of applause and thanking them for all the work they did. I'd also like to thank each and every one of you for attending today, and if you've been the most politically correct person at your table this afternoon, take the centerpiece. Thank you.